discuss about the chromatic number of a graph. Now, what is meant by the chromatic number? Painting all the vertices of a graph with colors such that no two adjacent vertices have the same color is called the proper coloring or coloring of a graph. A graph in which every vertex has been assigned a color according to proper coloring is called a properly colored graph. Now let us consider the coloring of the graph in three different ways. Now in the first figure you can see that here we used 5 colors. You can see 5 colors here. Okay, there are 5 colors in the first figure. So here we can just write, here we used 5 colors. We can name the vertices V1, V2, V3, V4 and V5. Similarly here V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Here there are 5 vertices, and in the first figure here we used 5 colors. Okay. Now in the second figure you can see that here we used 4 colors. 4 colors are used here. And here you can see that here we used only 3 colors. Okay, so painting all the vertices of a graph with colors such that no two adjacent vertices have the same color. So adjacent vertices must have different colors. Okay, now the proper coloring of a graph is seen in the figure. Now a graph that requires k different colors for its proper coloring and no less is called the k chromatic graph, and the number k is called the chromatic number of G. So what is meant by the chromatic number? Chromatic number means minimum number of colors used to color a graph such that no two adjacent vertices have the same color. So in this figure, here you can see that the same figure are colored with different colors. Now here you can see that what is the minimum number of colors used here? 3. In the third figure you can see that the adjacent vertices are colored with different colors and the minimum number of such color is 3 here. So here you can see that the chromatic number is 3. Okay. Usually for coloring problem we consider simple connected graph. Okay, so the graph must be connected and it is simple. Simple means there is no loop and no parallel edges. Now what are the observations here? A graph consisting of only isolated vertices is one chromatic. That means vertices are not connected. So vertices are not adjacent. So one color is enough to color all the vertices of an isolated graph. Now second observation, a graph with one or more edges, that is not a self loop, is at least 2 chromatic or bichromatic. Third observation, a complete graph of n vertices is n chromatic as all its vertices are adjacent. Hence, a graph containing a complete graph of r vertices is at least r chromatic. Every graph having a triangle is at least 3 chromatic. Now the fourth observation, a graph consisting of simply one circuit with n greater than or equal to 3. That means the number of vertices is at least 3. Then such a graph is 2 chromatic if n is even and 3 chromatic if n is odd. Okay. Now let us move to one theorem now. So we can write this statement here. Theorem 8.1. Okay, this theorem says every tree with the 2 or more vertices is 2 chromatic. Okay, so every tree with 2 or more vertices is 2 chromatic. So here we consider a graph with at least 2 vertices. Okay, so consider a tree. Let V be any vertex in that tree. Let us move to the proof. Consider a tree T. Consider a tree. Let V be any vertex in T. You consider a vertex in T. Suppose V is the root of our tree. Now suppose that V is our root. V is the root of our graph. Now paint V with color 1. Now you can color this vertex with the color 1. Suppose here we used color 1. Okay. So V is colored with color 1. Then paint all vertices adjacent to V with color 2. Okay. Suppose there is one vertex, here is one vertex, here is one vertex. So these are adjacent to V. So we can color this vertex with the color 2, different color. Suppose the first one is colored here 1. Now next paint the vertices adjacent to the colored vertices 2 using color 1. Again we can consider the vertices adjacent to this vertex. Okay, suppose here is one edge like this, here one edge like this. Now let us consider edges in this way. Suppose this is our tree. Now the vertices adjacent to 2 are colored with color 1. So color 1. Okay. Now continue this process till every vertex in T has been painted. So here you have a 2, here you have 1, 1, 1. Here also 2. Now in the tree we find that all the vertices at odd distances from V have color 2, while V and vertices at even distances from V have color 1. Now along any path in the tree T, the vertices are of alternating colors. Since there is one and only one path between any two vertices in a tree, no two adjacent vertices have the same color. Thus, T has been properly colored with the two colors only. So, one color is not enough. Okay, that means every tree with 2 or more vertices is 2 chromatic, and hence the proof of this theorem. Now we can move to another theorem now. Theorem 8.2. Okay. Theorem 8.2. Now this theorem says a graph with at least one edge is 2 chromatic if and only if it has no circuits of odd length. A graph with at least one edge is too chromatic if and only if it has no circuit of odd length. If there is a circuit with odd length, you can see that is trichromatic. So here a graph with at least one edge is too chromatic if and only if it has no circuit of odd length. Okay, now we can consider the proof now. Let G be a connected graph. Let G be a connected graph with circuits of only even length. Consider there exists a circuit. G is a connected graph with a circuit of even length. Now consider a spanning tree. Consider a spanning tree T in G. Using the coloring procedure and by the above theorem, let us properly color our tree with two colors. Now we can add the chords to T one by one. Since G had no circuit of odd length, the end vertices of every chord being replaced are differently colored in the tree. Thus, G is colored with two colors with no adjacent vertices having the same color. That is, G is two chromatic. Okay, conversely, you can assume G has a circuit of odd length. Here you consider G has a circuit of odd length and we would need at least three colors just for that circuit. And hence the proof. Now we can move to another theorem. Theorem 8.3. If D max denote the maximum degree of the vertices in a graph G, D max represent the maximum degree of vertices in a graph G, then the chromatic number of that graph G is less than or equal to 1 plus D max. If G has no complete graph of D max plus 1 vertices, then the chromatic number of G is less than or equal to D max. Okay. Now a graph G is called bipartite if its vertices at V can be decomposed into two disjoint subsets V1 and V2 such that every edge in G joins a vertex in V1 with a vertex in V2. Every edge joins a vertex in V1 to a vertex in V2. Thus, every tree is a bipartite graph. A bipartite graph can have no self loop. Set of parallel edges between a pair of vertices can all be replaced with one edge without affecting the biparteness of a graph. Now, clearly, every two chromatic graph is bipartite because the coloring partitions the vertex set into two subsets V1 and V2 such that no two vertices in V1 or V2 are adjacent. Similarly, every bipartite graph is two chromatic with one trivial exception, a graph of two or more isolated vertices and with no edges is bipartite but is one chromatic. Okay, Now a graph G is called p-partate. P-partate if its vertex set can be decomposed into P disjoint subsets V1, V2, etc. Vp such that no edge in G joins the vertices in the same subsets. Okay. Now a K chromatic graph is p-partate. A K chromatic graph is p-partate if and only if K less than or equal to P. Okay. A K chromatic graph is p-partate if and only if K less than or equal to P. So here we can see that all the result on K chromatic graph are applicable to K-partate graph also. Now in the next class we can discuss the chromatic partitioning. Now thank you all.